Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Teleglitch. We had a heck of a good third level there. We have outfitted ourselves with an EM detector. We have outfitted ourselves with plenty of rifle ammo, plenty of shotgun ammo, plenty of 9mm ammo. We have even got a machine gun. We've got all kinds of med kits. We've got all kinds of crafting gear. Let's see how we're going to screw it up. I am as excited about this as you are. Possibly more so, although I like to think just as much. If you saw guards in the last level, oh, and these guys too, yes, then these do make reappearances as the kind of guys you're going to have to keep a lookout for. Those strong zombies can take quite a bit to go down, however, 2 blasts with the Fat John and a little bit of follow-up work with the machine gun is more than sufficient to take it down. The machine gun can be very nice if you've got a big room full of targets that absolutely need to be taken out in a hurry. And now we can begin to see the joys of our EM detector in that I know there's a bunch of guys coming after us. And you can even sort of gauge their speed and know what basic kind of enemy you're going up against. Guards, which are really, as I said, the biggest threat to us at this point, move much more slowly and deliberately than some of the rest of these guys. And see, you can even... it's not quite working. But sometimes you can sort of see around corners and kind of get the drop on those guys. Now, moving out in the open like this was a great move on level 1, but not strictly the best idea right now. Hey, canned meat. I'm going to do the old nail box drop again, I think. Unless for some reason I start really wanting more nail bombs. I think I'll do that and leave it here. Now you might notice I'm being a little profligate with my 9mm ammo, and that's because this stuff really decreases in value as the game goes on. At this point, the guards are still relatively unarmored, so it's good for use against them, but as I think I said, we saw those war walkers last time, and it's kind of a large amount of basic mutants here. Anything that I'm not expecting, which is horrible things that kill me, makes me nervous in this game. The 9mm would have been functionally useless against them. I mean, you can down anybody with anything. I'm sure you could, in theory, take out the last boss with a 9mm or something like that, but you would need to either superhuman dexterity or it may, in fact, just be impossible. Okay. I like that they are training for swarm movement. I think that would be the whole point to swarm movement, is it doesn't actually require much training or workup. But, you know, if they're going to throw these basic guys at me, I'm going to knife them. So, this is, incidentally, a fairly tense level. If only... Ooh, I know that roar. Nope, those guys. Yeah, I was saying, a fairly tense level, if only because... if we can manage to take down... Oh, shoot. A lot of guards, too. Okay. Time for a tactical retreat. I know this seems disproportionate, maybe, but not really. I only took 10 points of damage from what I think was possibly... Ooh, I think with 2 shotguns. Yes, I can make the shotgun too with the hardware and 2 shotguns. That's another nice little coup. In addition to freeing up some more precious inventory space, this thing is basically an auto shotgun. It'll just fire forever and ever and ever. Now, if somebody has a gun that you don't want any more of, like a shotgun, you can pick it up and then drop it, and that unloads all the ammo for it, giving you a little bit of an extra bonus. As I was saying earlier, though, if I can manage to beat this level, then I will have made it to level 5, and I will consider that, I will consider myself worthy at that point of restarting again from level 3 or 3B should I perish. Now, the chances of me actually making it through this entire game in one go are, I don't want to say vanishingly small, but quite small I think would do it justice. Hey, plating here. And you can really see... Oh, beautiful. Man, I am getting a heck of drops these days. I don't really need the heavy rifle for anything now that I've got the 2X rifle, but I will take its ammo. And now that I've got a plate, it's armor time, so I'm back up to 50 armor. Yeah, I don't want to say vanishingly small, because I don't want to sell myself short necessarily. However, quite unlikely, I think, would not be selling myself short, but then also not underestimating the actual difficulty of beating this thing in one go. It's just so nice to know where enemies are around the corners and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, I really should just shoot these guys, but I always think I'm going to be some superhero and knife them. These guys aren't too bad. I can actually... I'm sure if I was a, you know, pro ice player or whatever, I could be knifing those guys with no problem. But that's just not me. If I get down to 75, I'll use a health pack. Again, health packs will only take you up to 100, and so if you're at less than their maximum heal value, you're kind of cheating yourself if you use them early. Unless, you know, circumstances are dire or something like that. Okay, this might be a fun occasion. If this is, in truth, our first skippable zombie rush, because I don't really see any compelling reason to make those guys come out and get us. I mean, honestly, our first skippable zombie rush should have been during that big brawl with those 3 war walkers, but it turned out alright. Oh, you know, it occurs to me, I think in all the excitement and rush of finally doing in those war walkers, I never exactly explained the meat traps to you guys that I used back there to take them out. So let me briefly explain. A meat trap is basically a heavy explosive, I think it's equal to an RDX 500, that you put down that holds off on activating. Now, if you're doing a lot of running back like this, you do have to keep in mind there can be enemies that you didn't expect behind you. I have, in fact, died to that. And I'm down to 72 now, so I don't feel bad about using a 25. So the meat trap, you put it down, and it doesn't explode until enemies get up on it and start to eat it. I mean, the idea is it looks like a tasty morsel, and so then it explodes. Now, the disadvantage to it is, first off, if you're anywhere near the thing when it goes off, you're paced, but that's pretty much par for the course. The real disadvantage, to my mind, is that a lot of the... Let's see if I can... There we go. Blew them to bits. Very nice. The real disadvantage to my mind is that a lot of the later enemies, war walkers being just the first, show absolutely no interest in it. Basically, there's 2 kinds of enemies in this game. You've got your biological and your mechanical. Okay, hello. A bit of a slowdown there. Oh, that's... You know, I actually had not noticed that before, but that is another super valuable thing about the EM detector, which is if you leave the line of sight of an enemy that isn't dead yet, it will show you that little handy circle that appears around it, indicating that it's in fact still kicking. Alright, I'm not wasting any more shotgun ammo on this jump. It's close to death as it was. Now, what saved me in the fight with the war walkers when I used those meat traps was the simple fact that in addition to the war walkers, there were a bunch of biological targets, i.e. the zombie rushes, that were attracted to the meat traps and so got up on it. And even if a war walker were to, say, pass over a meat trap, I don't think it would set it off. I think the canon explanation, if you want to call it that... Oh. Man, see, if that had been a guard, my goose would have just about been cooked. Right? Goes to show you. Yeah. On the one hand, I feel bad that I wasted a shotgun shell, but he did give me a can of meat, so I guess it's not that bad. Who else? That looks like a guard up there. Yeah, you see, the enemy clusters start getting to be a bit more intense. Now, this guy is, I think, meant to kind of train you in the idea that there's going to be some long-distance gunplay ahead. You really want to use doors when it comes to guards. Those things are great because it breaks a guard's line of sight, making it so that the guard has to actually advance close enough to you. The guard's real danger is when he's long distance like this, they have got great aim. Oh, interesting. He dropped his 9mm. Oop, I mean to do that. I'll pick up both the 9mm. I will load this one up, drop it and pick it up to get the ammo, and then as soon as I have the gear, I'm going to make this sucker into a nail gun. I think I might need some hardware for that or something. Anyway, I would kind of like to know what's up here. I think this one might be worth it. Kind of running out of these piece of grenade rounds, but I'll say that it's worth it. So yeah, the guards, I mean, again, this game is not supposed to be easy or fair or whatever other sissified notions you might have of gameplay. So no, guards are super accurate from a very long distance away. Ah, more canned meat. Beautiful. That's enough for a plate. If I can get one more plate, I will be rolling in armor. I have lost, frankly, embarrassing amount of it already. But hey, I'll take some canned meat, and I'll take an empty can. It's already advancing me well on my way to plate domination through cans. Yeah, so the more distance between you and those guards, the worse for you, typically. Nope, there's another one. And so a lot of what you'll see me doing is just like line of sight management with these guys. Again, they don't take a whole lot to go down. In fact, I think that might have dropped him. These guys are a real problem if they fall down and get back up. I almost feel bad that I haven't let them get off too many shots on me, just so that you guys can see what that'll be like, but frankly it's not worth it because they hurt so bad and so fast that even allowing them the luxury of doing basically anything to you is sort of a fool's errand. I need to be careful. Oh. Hey, this looks like the end teleport right here. Very nice. So if I wasn't an absolute dunce and a slave to the Let's Play, that would be that. And I would have reached my first checkpoint without any incident, so that's great, but because I am both of those things that I said that I was, I'm going to continue on, see if there's anything else I can get out of this level, and hopefully not get myself murdered. The real big rush in this level, and the real thing to be cautious about, what happened to us very early on, and it was that big rush of the grenade-throwing zombies and a whole bunch of these guards here. That little rush like that is more than enough to do in an incautious player. Fortunately, I had plenty of reserves from the previous level, and so I'm still whistling Dixie, as the saying goes. I don't actually know if that really applies here, but that's what I'm choosing to say about it. So, with any luck, these... Ooh, ooh. Somebody's mad at me. Oh, hello! This guy looks hurt. He must have been one that I actually almost put down, but didn't quite. And so that is definitely... Oh, hey. Nice. Ooh, a battery. That is an indication of big weapons to come. It is always nice to get some of those because there is, in fact, if you can swing it, and it's very not guaranteed to do, but there is, in the next sometime in the future, what I would call a true boss battle, in that I mean it is a unique enemy that is extremely intimidating coming up, and if you can manage to get a certain weapon which uses the battery before you fight that boss, it goes very well for you, because certain weapons that use the battery have 100% armor penetration, and this boss is armored like you would not believe. It almost makes me wonder if it was kind of like the design was that you could get it, but you sure can't all the time, so I don't know. I just work here. Find hitting any of those targets with the 9mm. I'm not fine with this guy hitting me. I shouldn't have been fine with them hitting me either, but I was a bit. See, I'm using my EM detector to figure out if they're there or not. That EM detector is just so nice. I don't know, I kind of feel, once you get it, you kind of feel naked in a run if you don't have the thing. Again, here's me being, trying to be a hero when I'm fighting these guys. Goodness only knows why. Hello there! Again, I'm... not that I would have run in, because I'm a little bit more careful than that after long enough playing this game. But I might have, in a moment of carelessness. And believe me, being up close to one of these guys can wreck your day. Again, you can get an upgrade for that knife at some point, which makes it a little bit knifer. Ha ha ha. But I don't have it yet. Ooh, an M chip. And I know I want that, and I'm not sure what I'm going to give up. You know what? I think the answer is going to be Mr. Can Gun. I think I'm just going to kind of... ooh, a large tube. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to hang on to that large tube, because let me tell you something about large tubes. Hello, zombie. Goodbye, zombie. Let me tell you something about large tubes. Large tubes are the rarest things in the world. There are only 2 large tubes in the known universe, and as a consequence, they are incredibly valuable and must be protected against all comers. I don't think nail boxes are really worth it to me. Not until I can get some more hardware. I feel like I dropped hardware maybe last level, and I'm feeling a little silly about it, but never mind, never mind. What am I going to drop? What am I going to drop? I don't want to drop a tube for a large tube, because tubes are useful, M-chips are useful, plates are useful. Here we get into the real trouble in this game. I have all this stuff, and I don't really want to drop any of it. I guess the most droppable thing is this here nail bomb. So, cautious of the accident that happened to me last time, I will get well out of its way. I can always fashion more of these things if the need should strike. So, and I am for sure getting this large tube. It is, as I said, exceedingly rare and valuable. Alright, no more nail boxes for me, I don't think. I will show off any weapon that I don't get in-game. I will show off in arena mode. Okay. Here is another tube. I think I can make that thing yet. I'm not sure exactly what I'm missing. There's something in particular that I'm thinking of that requires 2 tubes to make, so I think I will hang on to this. Oh, that's another shame. I never like it when when I'm forced into letting loose with a swarm of these chumps, but needs must as the devil drives. I could have adhesive grenade launched them, I guess, but I don't know, something in me kind of makes me want to hang on to at least a few of those things for later usage. So I'll just thin out the herd. And then I'll not see that guy because I was looking elsewhere. Because I don't remember the lessons that I teach you all. There we go, the teleporter location is marked, which would have been very handy if it wasn't already. Can I... Nope, I cannot. I was just going to try to squeeze in, but the game knew what I was up to and was having absolutely none of it. I've squandered some of my riches from my canned meat in terms of health here. But who knows if anybody else maybe didn't drop one of these things. So let me fill up on that. And there, I'm almost up to... Oh, didn't mean to do that. You're not supposed to be loaded. You notice I'm getting a little bit lower on 9mm ammo, and again, that is perfectly fine and a normal part of gameplay. You're not going to have enough ammo for every gun the entire game, and so you're going to have to start prioritizing, and really the first thing to go ought to be your 9mm ammo, as it is useful for the fewest number of things. Those EXP grenades, those are explosive grenades. and that'll keep me in the AGL1 game a little bit longer, which is nice. Eventually, nastier things will indeed start to come out of the tubes, and so that's something we'll have to worry about when the time comes. But for now, it's just those zombie mans. Okay, a nutrients tube intersection. This was actually a larger little pathway down here than I thought. I was kind of hoping it was either, honestly, going to be a small path with some goodies, or at least just a small path and a dead end, but no such luck. Big areas to explore always kind of make me nervous because, you know, more area there are, the more chance there is for something very deadly and nasty to come out of it, and I have no idea what's down here or if this is going to be worth it at all. I'm kind of forced into fighting a lot of these guys, but you know what? I just found a pickup of these AGLs, and indeed it looks like it was nothing at all down there, but those are the breaks. I'll be honest, if I wasn't doing an LP, I might have just booked it. But such is my concern for your welfare, that I will even get punched by zombies. Pipe zombies, nonetheless. Oh my goodness, and look, I was rewarded for my dedication. Oh, I was rewarded several times over. Look at that, many M-chips and some medkit 50s. I can now make a teleport, and I am divided over whether I want to do that. And in fact, I think I'm going to look at a recipe really quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll bear with me for a moment. I need an M-chip, 2 tubes, and a motor to come up with some power legs. That is the item that increases your speed. Now, motors are only dropped, in fact, by the war walkers we've already encountered. Let's see, so there's just a med kit left down here. And I only need 1 M-chip for those things, right? I should have checked that. Yeah, just 1 M-chip, so I've actually got, I think, enough M-chips to make a teleporter and to make, oh, this is perfect, enough to make a teleporter and enough left over to make some power legs when the time comes. Okay, so I'm going to make a teleporter which drops because I don't have enough to deal with it, and I want to keep that teleporter, so I think what's going to end up getting dropped is, unfortunately, probably the empty cans, which I'm sorry about. But let me pick up this teleporter. Let me tell you about this teleporter. This is a good teleporter, and it is extremely handy to have, walking as we are into what is, sorry, spoiler alert, going to be a boss encounter next level. However, as I've mentioned before, it is essentially a toned-down version of one that we've already fought, being only 2 war walkers in a slightly better environment, so I'm not that worried about it. However, the game really picks up at about level 5, which is, you know, where we're getting to. And after at levels 6, 7, 8, 9, all of those have some very intense encounters in them. So I guess I could say it really picks up at around level 6. But there you'll start to see the unique one-off monsters at the end of the levels, and those are doozies. I will say that. Man, look at this absolute just trail of carnage. So from here, I think it's nothing more than just a trip out. Alright. Being as that's all she wrote, I will see you guys next time for our first checkpoint at level 5.